You know, they say the truth is stranger than fiction, and when we do these strange tales from histories, I'm kind of inclined to agree. How about the time over 100 imposters claimed to be Marie Antoinette's dead son? Kind of crazy. And also, we're about to deep fat fry right now.
Deep fat fried.
100 imposters, huh?
Do you know who this is, TJ? Do you know?
I'm gonna guess from the cross that he's a Dauphin of France. Yeah, the Dauphin.
Oh, oui.
He looks like a little Dauphin.
He was indeed. So this is pretty crazy.
He's got that, like, anytime you see that big iron silver cross thing, it's usually an old French person, and he looks like a little prince. So there you go.
Little Frenchie.
Yeah, I like to do these historical episodes, and I came across this as kind of just like a little blurb. I'm like, oh, one time, 100 imposters claimed to be Marie Antoinette's dead. Okay, I gotta find out more about that. Because you know where there's shit
I
like
assume
this.
there was like some kind of reward or some kind of like status that it would grant you or something like that.
You get to be the Dauphin, TJ. And if the Dauphin would be what? If the king is dead, the Dauphin would be the king. So, Louis Charles de France grew up in a life of privilege, TJ. The gold trimmed rooms of Versailles.
Sounds good to me.
I mean, yeah, just had an ideal, obviously, beginning to his life. He's the Dauphin, a happy, handsome, and charming son of Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette. At the age of 4, he became the heir to the French throne when his brother died. I mean, he had another upgrade. And from that day forward, of course, the world was his oyster. Unfortunately for him, it was not to be. A little known thing called the French Revolution took place, and of course, ended up destroying his family, the monarchy itself, for a while.
Yeah, this picture is metal as fuck. Look at that dude just like running around with a head on a stick.
Yeah.
Another dude who's he's like the fucking gore catcher guy. He's like, oh, got a bowl for the gore here.
Yeah, who's this thick motherfucker down here?
Everybody, dude, have you been to France? You know everybody's got a big thicky ass in France.
Do they?
They have a thick bottom, TJ.
I never noticed that.
They eat a lot of butter and a lot of spices, TJ, and it allows their rumps to grow to epic proportions.
Oh shit! I need to give France a second chance.
you may have need to look down a little bit. You're a tall guy, so you miss a lot of butts. I feel.
Yeah, I missed that booty.
I think he did. Yeah. You were at Nice too, so you went all over France, TJ. You have no excuse.
I know.
He was an orphan by the age of 8 after his parents' execution in 1793, and was horribly abused, neglected, and isolated in a prison cell in Paris temple. Vilified as the wolf cub, the son of a tyrant, and the bastard. By 1795, the newly styled Louis Charles Capet was unrecognizable, covered in sores, and his belly distended from malnourishment.
One of the issues of the French Revolution was Marie Antoinette's lineage being, what was she? She was Austrian royalty. And
she was.
There was a lot of bad blood between France and Austria due to past conflicts over territory and stuff. And so a lot of people thought that the marriage of the Dauphin's father to Marie Antoinette was just illegitimate. That's why they called him the bastard.
And I know I talked about it before, but it was actually Louis XVI's support of America in the American Revolution that also led to his downfall.
True. Yeah, drained the coffers of his country to the point where he had to overtax the populace. And
he looked too much to the enemies without and not enough to the enemies within.
Well, also bankrupt, and of course there's a massive drought in France in that time, so food shortages.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
not good to be a leader. So, and of course a time when knowledge was spreading rapidly.
Yeah, and plus
the Western world.
The French people had just seen the Americans have a big revolution. They're like, wait a minute,
hey.
Why are we putting up with this shit? Fuck that.
So, Louis wasn't doing too hot. Finally, his jailers call a doctor. They call the Philippe Jean Peloton, a respected doctor who was horrified by the condition of the young Dauphin, or heir apparent. writes Deborah Cadbury and the Lost King of France. This is from that. Unfortunately, all assistance was too late. The doctor recalled of the boy who was once destined to become King Louis XVII. No hope to be entertained, or was to be entertained. So of
So they
course,
basically didn't call the doctor till he was pretty much dead.
yeah, like when he was like on death's door, it's like, all right, I guess we'll do
right.
them that.
Send a doctor in to fucking just like call it, and then let's go eat a sandwich and go about our day.
On June 8th, 1795, Louis Charles died of tuberculosis in the arms of his jailers. He was only 10 years old. The revolutionary government quickly sprang into action. The child's body, so neglected in life, was hovered over in death. Dr. Peloton performed a detailed autopsy and found evidence of the physical abuse Louis Charles had endured. Once the autopsy was completed, the body was secretly buried in a mass grave at nearby Sainte Marguerite Cemetery. And we actually have an image of something he saved. He saved a little souvenir.
What is that? Is that his balls?
That is his heart.
Oh.
Let's rip out his heart and put it in a jar, then bury him in a mass grave. They had a weird. You can just tell they had a weird, conflicted relationship as to how they felt about this kid. Let's torture him to death. Oh, he's dead. Let's well, let's preserve his heart. Bury him in a mass grave. Like, okay, well, how do you feel? Is he revered? Is he horrible? Like, make a fucking choice.
Well, you know what? I will say this. By the end of this episode, I think you'll know how the French people ultimately come down, how they feel about the little Dauphin.
Dauphin.
But not all of the Dauphin's body made it to the common pit. During the autopsy, Dr. Peloton had slipped the child's heart into a handkerchief and placed it in his pocket. He was determined someday to return the relic to exiled members of the royal Bourbon family.
So he is he's still like got some loyalty to the royals, Yeah,
he's a royalist for sure.
He's like, oh yeah, I know. For now, these fucking revolutionaries are fucking won, but
Yeah, but one day. Louis Charles' last surviving family member, Marie-Thérèse, sat unaware of his death in a cell above the floor. Actually, the only family member that really was not abused. She was just really described her, and I read up on her because she's going to come into the picture soon, but just pretty much bored. Just very bored while the rest of her family was killed and tortured. Fun times.
Well, boredom's not a burden anyone should bear, Scotty.
Hey, Maynard knew it. In the years following the secret burial, dozens of men claiming to be the Dauphin would come forward. And of course, many of them pestering Louis Charles' sister, the Duchess of Angoulême.
Angoulême.
So is this just a case of like them being secretive about the Dauphin already being dead, and so people were just dumb enough to keep trying it over and over again?
Yep. Sounds like it.
Basically. And she, of course, would be haunted by the mystery of what happened to her younger brother from the moment she was released from captivity in 1795 to her death over 5 decades later. She was...
So they never fucking told her that he was dead or anything.
Well, they never officially told her, but I looked into it. It was said that she was told that at some point in her life, and of course, obviously in anguish, because she just never really knew. I mean, like, I'm sure she figured it out that her family was dead, but the particular details, I'm sure that took longer.
Hey, it's Charles Montesquieu Parky, dude. This guy.
Yeah, it is.
I die laughing. I'm like, dude, it's White Gil Paul.
One of these. This is one of the ones I almost covered for my episode, but
remind me never to get a little pervy mustache.
Yeah, don't ever do the pervy mustache,
Paul. This is evidence right here.
Unless you fucking get hired to play this guy, in which case, go ahead.
Yeah,
and he's even got these super light eyebrows like I do and everything, man. He's got my nose. This is creepy.
I know it does look a lot like you, honestly.
Very strange and very creepy.
No, dude, I died laughing. Taylor's like, "What's so funny?" I'm like, "This guy looks like Paul."
He does.
Like, I'm not even stretching it like he does. Eventually, over 100 people, most famously, Charles Naundorff, claimed to be the real Dauphin. Oh, I think it's actually his last name is Naundorff. I don't know how you fucking say it. These fucking
Naundorff.
Actually, he's not French. He's actually Prussian. Excuse me.
Yeah, there you go.
There are many practical reasons to make a claim, of course. A bourbon restoration was always a possibility. And a successful claimant could theoretically find himself on the throne of France. So, of course,
this almost exact same situation happened with Anastasia in Russia. The family was killed by revolutionaries, and Anastasia was almost certainly fucking killed along with them. But for years and years, numerous imposters rose up like, I'm Anastasia. No, I'm Anastasia. It's like, okay.
we'll actually briefly mention her too, the charlatan. And of course, who would want to be king, riches, fame, an adoring public, I guess you could say at that point. I mean, maybe. I don't know. The French they have a complicated relationship with monarchies. And of course, the charlatans were aided by the fact that the child's last days had refused to speak, and no one who had known Louis Charles in his happy youth ever saw him before he was brought to prison. So no one actually really knew him before could really verify. So it's like people would be like, could he be? And of course, only Dr. Peloton and a few of his friends knew of the pickled heart locked away in the desk drawer. So, I mean, obviously the doctor knows this kid's dead. But, obviously for whatever reason, he doesn't want to reveal that, or, I mean, who knows?
Or, Scotty, maybe they were like, maybe some fucking royalist, were waiting for the right moment. They gathered up their clout together. They cooked up this story, fucking found some street kid, threw him in the cell, poisoned him. Oh, yeah, it's the body. And meanwhile, they secreted off the real Louis the fucking 17th or whatever to some safe location where he grew up to be this guy.
But from the public's point of view, and this is a diplomat from Austria writing about this, there is no real and legal certainty that the son of Louis the 16th is dead.
There still isn't, Scotty. I believe the conspiracy. Fuck you.
Baron von Thuggett.
Thuggett?
Thuggett.
Thuggett. Okay.
His death up to now has no other proof other than the announcement in the Monterre. I'm probably butchering that because it's French, along with a report drawn up.
I think it's like Monetaire.
Monetaire?
They're kind of like Monetaire.
Monetaire.
You gotta put some phlegm in it. If you're ever on doubt about a French pronunciation, just Monetaire.
Along with a report drawn up on the orders of brigands of the convention and by people whose deposition is based on the fact they were present when the body of a dead child, who they were told was the son of Louis Capet.
Yeah, but where was the proof? There was no DNA evidence back then. They just got some fucking miserable-looking street urchin, killed him, and said, oh, yeah, there's the prince right there. He's dead. Dead as a doornail.
It's the prince.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the real prince is still alive to this day.
So this is a thing of intrigue around the world in France. I mean, really. So according to Cadbury, the mystery surrounding the Orphan of the Tower led to 500 books on the subject, an Edwardian era monthly journal, the first book, a fictional account called The Cemetery of Madeleine, about Louis Charles' supposed escape from the tower. So, of course, like the movie version, came out a few years after his death.
The French are like obsessed with this fucking subject, basically. Like they're just like, oh yeah, 500 books, a fucking monthly magazine. Like, what does that magazine possibly print? There's literally no new information happening any month.
Imposters, rumors,
just like any fucking conjecture they can find.
Well, royals were like the mega celebrities of the time. I mean, look how like Great Britain still fawns over every time that fucking old ancient queen of theirs queefs out some dust or whatever. They're just like, oh, the queen queefed out another puff of mummy dust today. She did. I'm gonna write a book about it. I will. It's just like that. This is like, people have a hard time breaking this. Like here in America, we just make our own ultra celebrities. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We just like, yeah, Kanye West, he's king.
We build them up and then we tear them down as needed, We don't got to worry about this.
Down, build them up. Let's build them up again. Tear them down again. Keep going.
Yeah.
It's like a roller coaster. Up, down, up, down.
Where it stops, nobody knows. Memoirs are actually, of course, written by claimants themselves, including the historical account of the life of Louis the 17th, dictated by an illiterate, drunken vagabond named Charles de Navarre.
Sick.
Even Mark Twain got into the act writing of a transient pretending to be the little boy Dauphin in the Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. Because if you translate Dauphin to English, it says it's dolphin.
Right.
So
they even fucking infected Mark Twain with this shit, huh?
It's obviously very tongue-in-cheek.
Well, whatever.
This is TJ.
Who the fuck is this dork?
This is Jean-Marie Hervagault. The first claimant appeared in Chalons-sur-Marne, only 3 years after the Dauphin's death. The charming, handsome teenager had been found wandering the countryside and put in a local prison. For months, he refused to say who he was, and then said he was a member of a non-existent ducal house. Enamored villagers became convinced the seemingly aristocratic young man was Louis Charles, and the teen did nothing to disabuse him of this notion.
You know what? This kid is smart, dude. Because he never came right out and said it. He let them draw the conclusion, and then when they brought it up, he's like,
I mean,
I can't say. You know, so that's like
yeah.
people that's like way more effective than showing up, be like, I'm Prince. What? They'd be like, bullshit. But the fact that he shows up and he's a little too refined to be the standard country riffraff, you know, and then like, who are you? Who are you?
Tell me your name.
He must be Louis XVII. Oh, the Dauphin lives. It's like, oh God. That's a smart scam, especially for fucking someone so young.
Although still in prison, he was treated as a king. Cadbury writes, his cell luxuriously reappointed as a, quote, little palace and a, quote, small court organized with due pomp and ceremony. Presents and money were lavished on him because people just hedging their bets like, what if he is the Dauphin? What if the House of Bourbon is restored? I'm buttering up the king. In due course, it was revealed that he was in fact a runaway and tailor's son named Jean-Marie Hervagault, but that did not stop his courtiers from believing his royal lineage. Hervagault's
why let the truth get in the way?
Yeah,
He is the Dauphin anyway.
they lie. They lie.
No, that's my son. I'm just a humble tailor from. No, lies.
No, you lie.
Spit at you.
It'd be funny if they were like, then that means you are the king. Like, it's fucking like nobody gets crowned king. Oh man, people are so dumb.
So of course, like any huckster, his stories became more and more grandiose. The boy claimed that a brand on his leg of the shield and the lilies of France had been made by the Pope himself. He died in 1812, claiming to be the rightful king of France to the end. His whole life, he pretty much claimed.
Nice grift.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a bad way to live. If you can't be the king, be the guy that a bunch of people believe are the king. You know what I mean?
Yep.
He's not even the most famous claimant, though. In 1814, Napoleon's fall led to the restoration of Bourbon rule. Oh, there you go. When the dead child's uncle Louis the 18th, assumed the throne. This led to a boom in men pretending to be the ill-fated Louis Charles. By the mid-1820s, so many young men were claiming to be the Dauphin that doctors at asylums and bodyguards at the royal palace became adept at rebuffing them. I am the Dauphin! Okay. Yeah, right, buddy.
Well, because now they really want. Now it's like, oh, maybe I could be king if I can convince people this fucking story is true.
Tell me a fucking another one, kid. All right, you're the third Dauphin that I fucking turned away today. All right.
Yeah, pretty much. The fad made it abroad too. Fake Louis Charles appeared in England, Denmark, Colombia, and the Seychelles.
Dude, I'm gonna go to the White House and be like, I'm Barack Obama's fucking son. Let me in there. Let me in there, man. I'm the rightful heir to the throne of America. Get Biden out of here. I'm the fucking Dauphin, man.
Yeah, we don't have a patrilinear succession or whatever the fuck it's called. So.
Patrilineal, I think.
Yeah, we don't have that. So you can't.
It's a shame.
We don't have birthright leadership here.
Yeah, but
maybe that's why we went wrong.
If
we'd
I
still be
actually
ruled by the
was,
Washingtons at this point,
I wouldn't need it though, because if I actually was Obama's son and I came out and I was like, "Look, dude, Obama's my dad," I would immediately, I would be a political force immediately.
Oh yeah,
Obama's son, dude.
That's Obama's son. His fat white son.
Well, whatever. He's half white. My mom was full-blooded white.
Yeah, so I'm like, the black has been watered down.
Yeah. And of course, this made it to America too. In the United States, the most famous claimant was Native American Eleazar Williams, also known as Indian William. According to Cadbury, he was eventually paid off by a French nobleman and generously agreed to abdicate all rights to the throne. This guy was basically
so a Native American was like, I'm the guy, and they're like, look, we're just gonna give you some money. What? Why?
This guy's a con artist. That's all.
Right, but like he's got no. I mean, like his claim is like not even remotely credible.
It's
so
preposterous.
Why pay him off?
We actually mentioned this guy briefly before. I couldn't find an image of him though, unfortunately, or even a sort of rendering or drawing. Which is Charles de Navarre, who traveled to France from New Orleans and declared in court he was none other than the lost Dauphin of France. Navarre, who was heavily scarred and missing many teeth, wrote pleading letters to the king and Duchess d'Angoulême, signed Dauphin Bourbon. So basically, that'd be his older sister. He's like, please recognize the legitimacy of my claim.
I think he was the real one. That's the one. I pegged that one as the real guy. That's him for sure.
Of course, you can't claim to be the king of France. It's illegal.
Why?
If you're not actually the, well, I mean, I wonder why. And of course, usually people in power didn't really care because it's just some crazy person or some con artist who thinks they're going to fool some people. But obviously, most times, no one's fooled by this shit. But when the imposter gained a following or made threats, they were arrested and put on trial to expose their lies. That happened with Charles here. Not here, but he was basically arrested in 1817 after a disastrous trial, sent to jail, and he died in court. Yep. He died there in 1822.
They just didn't want to believe that he was the fucking the king, the rightful heir to the throne, but he was.
But Paul, you'll be happy to know that one of your ancestors is actually the most believed of all the imposters.
Of course. I mean, that's totally in line with my heritage, as we covered, and good grifters.
We saw him before. It was Charles Naundorff.
Yeah. Wow, his mustache looks way less perverted in this drawing too, so that's good.
Yeah, it's way better. It's a way better look.
Naundorff came from Prussia and claimed to be a clockmaker. In reality, he had been imprisoned in Germany for counterfeiting money. He'd also been accused of arson.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Much like another famous imposter, Anna Anderson, who later claimed to be Anastasia Romanov. He was unable to fluently speak his supposed native language. He was like, hello.
Well, he lived in Germany a long time, Scotty,
How you doing, TJ? I'm the Dauphin.
Yeah, I mean,
it's me, the Dauphin.
He left France as a child and moved to Germany, Scotty. He forgot a lot of that shit.
That's right, TJ. I am the Dauphin. I'm glad you recognize my claim. And of course, like Anderson, Naundorff soon convinced many people who had known and loved the real Louis Charles, including his nurse, a Versailles lady's maid, his father's private secretary, and a former minister of justice, that he was in fact the Dauphin. I am the Dauphin. You must believe me.
So a bunch of people that were actually pretty high up in the corridors of power were like, yes, this counterfeiter / arsonist claim is the legitimate one.
He actually had people who were close to him and his family believe some of his claims. Yes.
You can tell by his thick German accent that he's clearly the French king.
It is me, the Dauphin. How are you?
It's the gift of gab, dude.
You lack discipline.
This would be like me actually pulling off the Obama thing. You know what I mean?
It's me, Paul. How you doing? Paul Obama.
Who this?
Who's this thickie?
Who this?
This is the Duchess d'Angoulême.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Many of these people wrote to the Duchess d'Angoulême, the oldest surviving child of Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette, of course, vouching for Naundorff and suspiciously insisting that she give him part of her fortune.
Makes sense.
I mean, it's her little brother, right? As she had done occasionally in the past, the Duchess d'Angoulême sent a trusted friend to inspect the claimant. The friend reported back that Naundorff looked like a Bourbon, had handwriting like a Bourbon, and seemed sane.
Had handwriting like a Bourbon? What? They had like a genetic handwriting? Okay.
I don't know. I am certain that my sister would recognize me after 10 minutes talk. Naundorff wrote, I proposed that she should meet me. I demanded of her. But of course, I mean, even if she, if she has this fortune, she ain't giving it up to this dude, and there's no way of really knowing. And of course, that's why he wants to talk to her. Because there's a con artist, he's like, if I get 10 minutes with her, I can convince her, hey, I really am your brother. Like, I know things. It's me. My long-lost sister, I'm back. And obviously, at this point, she's the only one that can, infer any legitimacy on him. And of course, she's not, she ain't interested in that shit. In 1836, this is where Naundorff made his biggest mistake. He sues the Duchess d'Angoulême for property that supposedly belonged to him, saying, Look, I'm her younger brother. This belongs to me. Instead, the police force of King Louis Philip arrested him, seized all his papers, and deported him to England. There he worked to develop several military inventions, including an early grenade a recoilless rifle, which he eventually sold to the Dutch military. He declared that he'd be restored to the throne on the 1st of January, 1840. Sadly for him, when the date passed, he lost the majority of his supporters, and he died on August 10th, 1845 in Delft, the Netherlands, possibly of poison. Who knows? Maybe he was poisoned, maybe he wasn't. But he never got to be king.
Man, kind of reminds me of Trump there at the end, just like, I will reclaim the throne on January 1st. Remember all those dates that like came and went where like Trump will retake the White House on this day.
Yes, oh boy, it's coming.
Like, I meant this day.
We actually have a picture of his gravestone, though.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so at least in death, he gets to be the king.
He's like, you know what? Bury me under Louis the fucking 17th, because that's what I really am, bitch.
His gravestone and death certificate identify him as Louis Charles. When his rival, Baron de Richemont, died in 1853, his headstone also claimed the long dead boy's name as his own. So obviously, a lot of people running the scam.
Man, everyone was fucking eager to be this fucking dead kid, bro.
Well, just because of the riches, and I mean, you get to be the king. Of course, you're gonna. If anyone has a possibility of getting the grift, and I mean, look, there's gonna be people that are gonna give you money and support your claim. So there's rewards even in life.
Yeah,
I mean,
obviously, it's like pretty useful to even just like make the claim, as long as you're like even halfway credible. Because like some people will be like, yes, I know the real king.
Naundorff's children and grandchildren continue to try and legitimize his claims, mounting court battles up until the 1950s. So they didn't drop this shit. They're like, no, my dad was Louis Charles. He was and should have been king of France.
We still haven't dropped this shit, by the way, Scotty.
We still haven't?
No, we still haven't, dude. We're still pursuing this, because if this happens, then I'm the Dauphin, because he is my father.
What?
Yep.
Oh, Paul, I got some bad news for you, man. That's some bad news. In the 1990s, scientists used a lock of Naundorff's hair to prove once and for all he was not the lost Dauphin.
Yeah, alleged lock of his hair.
Okay.
Yeah, they just found some random fucking rat hair on the stream. Like, oh yeah, this is hair. You can trust us.
There's actually a study. If you look up this guy and his name and everything, they did a DNA. Geneticists looked into this and they could not find a link. But
lies.
Maybe look, Paul. Maybe you can. Yeah, look. Apparently, his family is still privately trying to get this claim resolved. So maybe Paul, you can be the one to prove it and go sit on the throne of France. I mean, they did abolish their monarchy. But maybe it can be restored. The parky line can restore.
I mean, yeah. Well, when the people of France meet me, they will immediately cry out for their king. You know what I mean?
Assuredly, just like when Napoleon returned, they'll be lining the streets for you.
Yep.
Through the centuries, and this is actually something you can see today if you want. The real Louis Charles heart had quietly gone on a remarkable journey. The hard, calcified heart had been rescued, stolen, trampled during a later revolution, and miraculously rescued again, ending up in the royal crypt of Saint Denis, where Louis XVI and Marie-Antoinette lay. So that's kind of nice. Got to be with his parents in the end.
How do we really know that's even the heart, though, dude?
I mean, I don't know. I guess they could test it, perhaps. In 2000, a group of geneticists proved definitively it was the heart of the 10-year-old Louis Charles de France. So I guess they're claiming that they have proof. It's now encrypted with honor in Saint Denis.
And yet the pinky of Christ remains in my possession.
Yeah.
I suppose so.
We got the pinky of Christ, and you know what? Those same geneticists, and well, similar geneticists have proven that it is, in fact, the pinky of Christ. So,
and if you guys want to visit the supposed heart, I guess, according to Paul, the heart of the Dauphin, you can visit it. Atlas Obscura has it listed as a place you can go.
Yeah, if you want to
visit the pinky of Christ, Paul and TJ's traveling circus tent road show. Coming to a town near you.
TJ, can you pull up the next thing? We can end with that. I want to show people.
I don't want to.
Here it is. Basilica
what if I don't want to do it?
In Saint Denis, France, the mummified heart of Louis XVII, the lost Dauphin of the French Revolution.
Why does his heart look so gray and shit? What's going on with that heart? It's messed up, Scotty.
It's a fake, dude. It's just a big wad. It's just like a big chunk of wood that they found on the ground. It's vaguely
that ain't no heart. That don't no heart to me.
It ain't. Dude,
you want to see
If they could actually have the balls to do some testing on that heart, they'd find that it's the heart of a fucking traitor and a pretender to the throne.
Okay, so go down. If you actually go down, it actually explains it. Go up a little bit.
I thought you just meant this.
A DNA test with a lock of Marie Antoinette's hair definitively proved the heart was of someone related to her and is not preserved. I see. So they were
alleged lock of her hair.
Well, it doesn't prove it was him, but it's just that it was someone related to her. And the now preserved organ is kept beneath a cenotaph. I don't know how you say that.
Cenotaph.
Cenotaph. Thank you. Showing the Dauphin's young face and curly hair. So you guys can see it if you want. Look, guys, if you're in France or go to France, you can see someone, and it's supposedly the little lost Dauphin's heart, if you want to.
This is all just a giant conspiracy to fucking sully the claim of the true Louis XVII, who, you know, who lived as, you know, what was his name?
Charles Naundorff.
Yeah, Charles Naundorff, dude. That's the real guy.
A Prussian watchmaker.
That's the real guy.
Thank you, TJ. Dauphin. I'm glad you recognize it, TJ. Very good of you.
Amen.
I thank you, TJ. We got some more shit, but you know what? It's already 30 minutes, so fuck you guys. That's it. That's all you get.
Yeah, sequel episode.
Get out of here. You're gone.
I just want to say, before we go, I am the real Louis XVII.
You're the TJ. You are the lost. You are the lost Dauphin.
Yeah. You looked nothing like the real fucking heir to the throne, TJ. And who does?
You don't know anything. You don't know goddamn shit about what he looked like. So they painted this fucking very.
I know exactly what he looked like because he was my great grandfather, TJ.
Paul, I hate to tell you, but, you know, Charles Naundorff, whatever, his claim is bullshit.
I tell you what, when I get my throne, now that you've made a false claim to the throne, I'm going to fucking have you guillotined for that shit.
All right, well, when I get the throne, I'm going to have your fucking nuts guillotined.
Nah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
Well, whoever wins out in this fighting, they get to be the new Dauphin.
Deep bad fight. Deep bad